And action.
Hi everyone, I'm Apshi.
Oh, did I just say it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I think we're going to introduce
Keep rolling.
Okay, no problem. Ready? Can you just call action?
Yeah. Stand by. Action.
Hi everyone, I'm Apshi.
I'm Nalisa.
I'm Yvonne.
I'm Sunita.
And welcome to the Woke Up Show. The Woke Up Show is a podcast with a rotating panel where we talk about lots of different topics, big and small, serious and silly, in order to get more woke. So, how are you guys feeling?
Good.
Actually, everybody's nervous. It's a little bit.
A little bit nervous.
A little bit.
I got all these beautiful ladies with me today, and we're going to be talking about a very, very important, big, small, not small, very big topic. Female body positivity. We're going to stick to only female body positivity. In a future episode, we will focus on men. But today, it's all about us ladies.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you guys, I know we all know what body positivity is, but do you guys have a definition for it?
I don't know if it's a definition. I definitely think to me it's more of like a culture, a feeling. I think it's more just about I think body positivity is about making sure the message is that your body is perfect no matter what it looks like versus it will only look perfect if it looks like this.
Exactly. That's literally perfect. So the body positivity refers to the assertion that all people deserve to have a positive body image. Whether you're big, small, tall, short, it doesn't matter. You deserve to love your body. And that's basically what the message is. And I also wanted to put this note here that today we might be using the word fat, and we're not going to be using that word with a negative connotation the way it's been historically used. It's just going to be used as a neutral descriptive term, and we don't mean it with any negativity at all. I just want to put that out there before we get into it.
We're reclaiming the word.
We're reclaiming it.
Making it powerful.
And so now I'm going to begin my feminist theory presentation and tell you guys a bit about the history of body positivity. So bear with me. So the body positivity movement started actually in the Victorian era. So at that time, women were wearing those crazy tight corsets, and they would even eat tapeworms to be super skinny. So there was a movement then that they wanted to not wear those tight corsets anymore. They wanted to actually show their bodies a little bit more because they were wearing layers and layers, and they really were fighting for the right to wear pants. So that's way, way long time ago. And then we jump into the 60s, which is where the modern movement of fat acceptance first sort of came into place. And it came about with a protest against the discrimination against fat people, because I think even to this day, fat people are treated really badly in society. It's harder to buy clothes, it's harder to get jobs, the way people look at you, it's just another ism. You know, it's right there. And what's really interesting is that people credit the body positivity movement, the start of this fat acceptance, to this guy who wrote a Saturday evening op-ed that became the manifesto of the fat acceptance movement, because his wife was fat and he was like, I hate this. I don't want to see my wife treated like this. So he wrote this whole thing, and it kind of sprung this movement. It led to the creation of the National Association to Aid Fat Americans in the US. And at the same time, it created the Fat Underground that also started. And by the 80s, the liberation was spreading across the globe. They had the London Fat Women's Group was formed in the mid-80s. I think it was active for many years, might even be still active to this date. And this was all part of the second wave movement of feminism. And then we go into the early 2000s, the internet was born. And there, even though we had a lot of people hating on bigger bodies, there were also a lot of loving on bigger bodies, because people could find their communities finally. Like, can you imagine being trapped in a small town and maybe you're one of the only few people who are bigger size there, that you didn't have a community of support and you could find that online. So the digitalization of the movement really did body positivity very good. But a point that I wanted to note is that in the process of becoming palatable the way it is now, I mean, the most fatphobic magazines in the world, like Vogue, even embrace body positivity now. And they do so because it's kind of diluted itself to no longer be advocating for equal opportunity. It's kind of moved to loving yourself, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because the more we love ourselves, the more we see different bodies, the more we accept different bodies, the more discrimination goes down. But that we've kind of strayed away from tangible outcomes. And it's more focused on self-love, which can be good or bad, but We don't really know.
Perspective.
So presentation over. Now we can discuss.
Presentation.
So what do you guys think? Let's talk about this first point is, what do you guys think is the difference between body positivity in theory and in practice? Like in your lived experience, especially in our country of Malaysia.
In theory, it's like about equal opportunities and all that, but in practice, it's more on just superficial,
Yeah.
just on that. And I think it's also a good thing. It also gives a platform for fat people to tell their story, tell their struggles, tell their experience and all that. So I think that if we it's very difficult because like the digital age is very superficial, you know,
Yep.
and that's the only thing that we can see rather than fat people saying we want equal opportunity. People
Yeah.
can't grasp on it.
Yeah.
So in practice, people see more on like, okay, this is my body, I'm embracing it, accept it. That's it. Yeah, and I think that both are important as well.
Yeah.
And I feel that fat people should have a say, should have a stand. So if people are interested in knowing, they should learn the theory
Yeah.
and where it's coming from, where it's rooted in and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good point that when we kind of see it in practice, it's very superficial.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a hot picture of me, regardless of my size.
Yeah.
But that's
so much
about
more.
it. It's
Yeah,
much
it's so
deeper
much
than
more.
that.
Yeah.
You know, how do you guys I mean, I guess how I feel is like when I see it in practice, it's like I can talk about it and my friends and all, we can, you know,
Yeah.
we all accept it and we all believe in it. We don't, you know, I don't think anybody is ugly or anything like that. But sometimes when you still see people who have different bodies walking around in the world, and people, especially in our country, they still stare.
Yeah.
It's not accepted yet.
I think fat bodies are very not foreign, but very new in Malaysia, especially in Southeast Asia, because fat bodies are very Western thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, fat it's a very Western thing. So like when people see fat bodies, they're like, oh, okay, and they always have this negative
Yeah.
thinking of
Yeah.
fat bodies, like, oh, she's obese,
I
oh,
know,
she's
like,
diseased,
oh, she's
lazy,
lazy.
or lazy, or
Yeah,
she's
they
unhealthy,
associate
and
words
all
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
but not knowing that the person has struggled
Yeah.
from dieting, it's genetics,
Yes.
it's
You
everything.
never
so
know.
much
You never
more.
know.
so
You
much
never
more.
know. Yeah, it's so much more.
Yeah.
But I think it's still very new.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that sometimes when you see people living unapologetically, it can feel like, oh, this person is too much. But why? Why?
No,
Just you wouldn't think that about somebody who was, you know, more
Quote
thin,
unquote, yeah.
wearing a very revealing outfit. You're like, oh, damn, she looks good. But someone who was bigger size, you'd be like, too much lah.
Yeah.
That
I think this
I hate that notion.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, all this is really a reflection of the individual's projection. It's very often, it comes
very
from
much.
a place of them projecting their own fears and their own insecurities, and that's why maybe they have difficulties accepting something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if they have difficulties on wearing revealing clothes on themselves. And they see a
Yes.
fat person, they're like,
Oh my
how
God.
can they do that?
Exactly. Oh,
Like,
that
I
is a
actually-
good point.
Yeah, why can I do that? So they
Yeah,
like
totally.
fat people has always been the easy target because they are the bigger target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
they take up space, and I think
And-
women,
and
as
I think
women,
they
we should
should-
take up
That's
space.
exactly. That's a huge thing. Is that women? I think since the age of I don't know, the minute we could consume media, is be smaller, take up less space, be less and less and less.
Eat less, restrictions around every areas of your life. Like it's
Eat less,
And
exercise
on
more.
the flip side, men are told to get bigger, take up more
right,
space.
and bulk up and
yeah,
all
bulk
that.
up, exactly. Big boy, big strong boy. You know, that's
Yeah,
so-
exactly.
But girls, it's like, you know,
girls small.
petite, smaller,
smaller is
Yeah.
be quieter, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
and like how if you gain weight or lose weight, why is it that immediately the first thing when someone sees you is like, oh, you're so fat now, or you're oh my god, why you so
Yes.
skinny now?
I think
I
that
hate
is
that.
such a common thing. I don't know how to say but I would like to say in the Asian culture as well. Like for me, especially oh my goodness, Chinese New Year, I like dread it. I used to dread it so much. I have so many bad experiences with it, and I just remember how awful I felt like because I've been doing quite a bit of inner work as well, like reflecting a lot on my choices today, and especially like just the little comments that they will say, and it because I have a sister and she's like always has been smaller than I am, and even now when I look at myself, I was like I was never even fat, like quote unquote, right? 'Cause you
Yeah.
actually use that word, but
Yeah.
my relatives and aunties, they'll be like, oh wow, you've really gained a lot of weight, like you look a lot. They will actually say that I'm fat, and I'm like, what? And obviously at age of 12 or 13, you
believe
you
them.
cannot comprehend right whatever
Yeah.
they're saying, and you internalize things
Yeah,
like
because
that.
these are people that you trust as well. It's
Yeah.
like, and what they say to you, you definitely
Exactly.
take it in. You know,
Yeah.
you keep it with yourself, and then only later on do you realize,
Oh,
like,
Yeah,
that
it really
was messed
affected
up.
my self.
Yeah,
think,
I think that brings me to my next point. It's like your self-esteem and body image. Sometimes it's hard to feel like I can easily say, all you guys have amazing bodies. You guys look so beautiful. You look so great. But when I look at myself, I don't always have the ability to say it as easily to myself. And I think it's because of things like that, you know, growing up. Like for me, I grew big boobs when I was 12 years old. So I felt so over-sexualized so much of my life that I hated my body for so many years for that exact reason, because I didn't understand, why do I have to cover up my body? Other girls can wear, you know, bikinis and this and that, and nobody tells them it's too much. And you know, growing up like that, you go through the phases. And eventually, I'm just like, oh yes, all boobs, nothing else. That's who I am. And then you come to the point where you're a bit older, and you're like, no, I am more than just what my body is.
Yes.
And it's just so hard, because you are from such a young age, the biggest thing people talk to you about is
It's
your
always
body.
your body.
Yeah, the amount of value that they
Yes.
attach, right?
like going back to your Chinese New
Yeah.
Year thing, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you turn up and the first thing they say is like,
They comment on your
if
weight.
you've lost weight, it's always with a, wow, you've
Like,
lost a lot of
yeah, it's
weight.
like a positive
Good
thing.
for
Or
you.
like sometimes, oh yo, you lost so
Yes.
much weight, you're not eating enough.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Yeah,
That's
also like that.
true.
What do you want?
Exactly. What do you want?
If I don't eat enough, it's not great. If I eat a lot and I put on weight, not great. Like what? Like what do you expect me
Basically,
to do, right?
Existing with your body, however it is not great
I
to a
know.
lot of people.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's wow. It's just such
And a part of me wonders, like, what has brought our society to the point where we look down upon people who are bigger? Like, why do we do that? I mean, obviously, I don't know if I can say it. I was going to say, obviously, it's worse for women, but it's also bad for men. But, you know, we can get into that another time. But why do we look at larger people, especially larger women, as a negative thing? Why has the global society kind of accepted that?
Media.
Yeah.
Media and the medical field.
Media.
Because
Oh,
I feel like the
yes.
medical field have been discriminating against fat people, and also I don't like. For me, I respect them, but I don't like naming like overweight people, fat people as obese, because
Yeah.
the medical field have linked obesity and obese as the same. Like it's very different when it comes to cancer. People would say cancer patients, but instead people will. It's interlinked in a way, and the medical field has always like, oh, the obesity pandemic and all that. But at the same time, socioeconomics and everything, fast food is still popping.
It's the cheapest option.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the
It
cheapest
is the
option.
cheapest
Yes,
option,
like
exactly.
everything, and at the same thing, promoting the eating disorders like mukbang.
Diet culture.
Yeah, diet culture, mukbang and all that.
Mukbangs.
Yeah.
I completely agree. That was a point that I wanted to discuss, because I've read a few stories here and there about how there are all these people who are overweight. They go to the doctor, I have this issue. No,
Yeah.
you're just overweight.
Yep.
No, I have this issue. No, you're just overweight. Then they push and they have to
completely
be so
dismiss.
pushy, and then they actually had an issue.
Yeah.
And because of the fat phobia of the medical industry, people who are genuinely sick cannot get help, and that's dangerous. That's just, it's so dangerous. How can we, as a medical professional, you should know. Even I know. I look at someone, I don't know how healthy they are.
Exactly.
I just don't know.
Just because someone is quote unquote thin doesn't
Yes.
mean they're healthy,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And if you're thin, then you get medical access. Oh, you know, poor you, you have this, you have that. But if you're fat, everything is your fault.
Yeah, it's all
There's
about the
an
weight. Well, you have to lose weight, then only you'll be healthy. But
Everything
like,
comes down to weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a blanket diagnosis.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just unfair. You don't know what has led someone to that point. And also the point about socioeconomic factors is that if you have more money, yala, you can eat organic food, you can eat salads, you know what's healthy and what's not. But access to that knowledge is gate kept by being, you know, more financially, what's the word? Privileged.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
definitely. Like a lot of, we can see it over here. A lot of like pekans and all that. There was so many McDonald's and KFC popping out and all that. But at the same time, the people in power, government, the medical field say, oh, Malaysia is the highest obesity problem
Yeah.
in Asia.
But yet you're not doing anything
Yes.
about it.
Yeah, but yet you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Foods
Yet
in canteens,
the
school canteens
stigma
are still
continues, yeah.
horrible. So
And a lot of people just don't know. I remember once I was working a while ago, we went to this rural part of town and they were feeding the babies condensed milk in the milk bottle. But they just didn't know. They didn't know it was wrong.
Because formula milk are just very bloody expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
Very
accessible
expensive.
at
It's not
all.
accessible.
And you
at
cannot,
all.
I would look at that and be like, oh no, why is this happening? But how can I judge you? I also wouldn't know what to feed my baby if I didn't have access to the knowledge. And I didn't have the money to buy formula for whatever reason, you know? It's just super unfortunate that the information is kept so tight. It's almost like they want to.
Yep.
Keep us small, you know what I mean? Sorry, I was just saying it like that.
So another thing I want to talk about is the myth of how the body positivity movement glorifies unhealthy lifestyle. Because you often see this, like I've seen it on TikTok a lot while I'm scrolling, and it'll be like, it'll be one girl like who's plus size and loving herself, and then someone will cut to it and be like, yeah, but you guys are all promoting unhealthy lifestyle. How do you know her cholesterol is this? And it's not that. And the thing is, this is only the case for people who are overweight.
Exactly.
course,
You wouldn't
yeah.
see the
Yeah.
same
What
comments
about
on the
Somebody
skinny
who
models.
is-
Exactly. Do you remember
yeah.
the 90s and early 2000s? It was heroin chic. It was literally
Yeah.
about doing drugs, smoking cigarettes, and not eating. And where was the conversation about health then? It's only now because people
There
are
was a
overweight.
conversation about health, but it would get shut down every single time.
Yeah.
It never led to anything, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, people would know how unhealthy, like, I remember an article coming out about Victoria's Secret angels and how they wouldn't drink water for like 72 hours.
What? Why?
Because they
The
wanted to
water
lose
retention.
The water, like, yeah.
Yes. So they would look
Water weight.
extra skinny walking down the runways. And there was, during that time, there was no uproar about like they're promoting unhealthy body standards. It was just a given. And
Yeah.
yet they're allowed to exist and continue.
Exactly. And it was almost like, the models fainting and all. You're like, oh, maybe one day if I faint, everybody will think I'm
It's
skinny.
like- it's
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It's like even media, movies as well. The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh,
The
Devil Wears
famous
Prada.
Emily,
How
though I
she
only
was.
ate the
Yeah.
cheese. And people are like, that's funny. But I'm like, that's
It's
not
not.
healthy.
And it was
It's not
considered
healthy
character
at all.
development that she
Yeah.
went from a size 6 to a size 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yep. Yep.
And what a
Definitely.
size 6 is, I think, still very
That's
small.
so
It is
Yeah.
so small.
Because I think, if I'm not wrong, at least in America, the average size is size 14.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were telling her that she's fat at the size 6 is...
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You know,
Can you
it's
imagine
just-
young women, like young girls watching movies like that and how it would just shape their perception and their
Yeah.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah,
That was me
that
back
was all
then.
of
Yeah,
us,
that
I
was,
think.
actually, that was all of us back then. So,
Yeah.
like,
did I
human
relate?
cheese? Okay, noted.
I hate that, but it's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that it's just fake concern. It's just health concern. Just
Yeah.
people just projecting on saying of just fat bodies or any bodies, embracing their own bodies, and they were like, oh no, but you're promoting unhealthy lifestyle. How is that woman dancing, embracing her body, promoting unhealthy lifestyle?
it's like literally promoting healthy mental health.
Yeah.
She's
That's what
just
it
feeling
is.
herself.
Yeah.
She's just
Yeah.
dancing or whatever. She's just wearing a bikini.
feeling good.
Yeah.
with
She's
her
just
body.
feeling
Yeah.
good. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clear that this is not about health.
it is.
This
not.
is about a
It's never.
stigma that people are fighting to keep alive. I
Yeah.
don't know why. And another myth, I think, is that people feel that the body positivity movement is anti-thin. And it's not. I personally don't think it is. I think it's about accepting all
Yeah, it's
bodies.
about body acceptance. I would like to
Exactly.
think body
Yeah.
positivity equals body acceptance, right? Like no matter at what size, you don't attach your value to whatever size that you're at,
Yep.
right? And it's really sorry.
Yeah,
go
yeah.
for it.
The only thing I'm anti is when skinny girls, they show like, oh, I have my body, I have everything, but then they hunch over to show stomach. I'm
Yeah.
like, everybody
You don't need to do all
you
that.
don't need to
Like,
do all that.
They're like trying to
we-
relate.
Yeah, like you don't
yeah.
have to be part of the movement. It's okay.
Exactly. Because the thing is, it's like when people say all lives matter. No, I mean,
Yeah.
yes, they do. They
Yeah.
definitely
That's not-
do.
but
All
that's not
bodies
what
are,
we're talking
yeah.
about.
Right now, the thinner girls, the more socially acceptable bodies, have been socially acceptable for time, all of time. Only now is the moment that a little bit more acceptance towards fat bodies, and and the acceptance isn't there. It's not normalized. It's still, we're working towards it.
Yeah.
So it's okay if you take a step back and saying somebody else's body is beautiful, somebody else's body is
And just
accepted.
showing support.
Exactly. It's not saying that your body is not beautiful and your body is not
Nobody's saying
accepted.
that.
Exactly.
Nobody.
And I
It's
think
not like you have to also like be pressured to be a part of it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the.
I am sorry, just want to ask a question. Do you think there's a difference between the body positivity movement and fat positivity movement?
There is the difference. The fat positive is more on fat people and
Right.
all that, but body positivity
It's just-
right now is more broader side.
It's broader, right?
Yeah, it's broader, yeah.
Because like going back again to like say girls who want to be part of the conversation, you know, even though say they don't like they're not seen as like being bigger or whatever, but they try, you know, they hunch over and they try to make themselves look like it. I think it's more like maybe they want to be part of the body positivity conversation.
I think you can be part of it,
Yeah.
But
don't
without doing
force
that,
it.
yes.
Yeah, don't force it. Maybe you can talk about maybe you have a scar and everything.
Yeah.
You can talk about that. You don't have to. Body positivity
Yeah,
is not all about body.
That's a great
Yeah.
point. It's not you. The thing is, the things that you don't have to be like, oh, everyone's talking about roles, or I also have roles, but maybe you can talk about
Your
your
experiences.
different
Yeah.
experience.
Exactly.
Because sometimes people like they. It's not to say that people who are thin or have always had it great. They also have a lot of
Yeah, of
negativity
course.
coming their way, and that's there's space for you to share that too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about that people need to realize is this is a movement that is inclusive.
Yeah.
That there's no exclusivity. Nobody is, everybody's allowed to be part of the conversation, but you also need to remember to be in a conversation, you have to listen.
And be respectful.
Yeah.
Exactly. Respectful.
Yeah.
Especially of the people who the conversation
Who are-
benefits
who
the
are
most, who
correct.
need it the most.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you guys feel like how do you guys feel like your place has been in the body positivity movement, or how has it, sort of affected you personally?
Oh, it affected me a lot. It helped me. It helped me with my body dysmorphia. It helped me with my eating disorder. So throughout all my life, I had a very yo-yo diet. Like I was skinny kid. I was a fat kid. Skinny kid, fat. My metabolism is. But yeah, I mean, like last time I was so like lose weight. I would exercise, lose weight, go on diet, 1,200 calories a day.
Yeah.
I don't know how I functioned back then, but yeah. So I wanted to see results. So I exercised twice a day sometimes and all that. And it helped, it destroyed me.
Yeah.
At the same time, people also say that, you're still fat. Oh, you're still fat. Oh, it's because I have wide hips. So people are like confused, like you're fat, but you're so skinny and all that. So I'm like confused as well as a child. I'm like, what the hell is my body?
What am I?
Like, and it's like I'm not small and I'm not XL. I was in between M and L. So, and I was struggling with eating disorder, especially. I grew up in a household where my mom would cook like a big pot, and then it's for like the meals are for days. That big pot is just for days. So I couldn't understand. I wasn't raised like, okay, I need to have this amount of portion and everything. And I also grew up, I think you guys relate, like food wastage is such a big thing and all that. So I felt guilty. So I would like starve and I would binge. Yeah, I would starve, binge and all that. And yeah, and slowly I think in my mid-20s, I found out about the body positive movement from fat Americans, especially black women, especially. And I found out, I was like, oh my God, these women, they are embracing their bodies and all that. Let me just try. And and I started embracing my body. I started being like, freak it. Let's go!
I really love how you said, let me just try.
Let me just try. I used to cover my body like constantly. I have this thing for oversized, and I still have a thing for oversized. That's just me. But I always wear oversized clothes just to hide my body so people won't know whether I'm fat, skinny, whatever. And slowly I'll be like, you know what, let me just wear these dresses.
Unravel the layers.
Yeah, and I always have insecurities on my arms. So I'm like, I never wore sleeveless back then. But now I'm like, you know what? Who cares?
Yeah,
I'm living my life. I'm getting older and whatever. I don't want to live like this anymore. And I got cyberbullied. That's another story. And for me, I am the type, I think the Scorpio in me. I'm very like vengeful.
I just guessed
I'm very vengeful. So if people say no, I'll be like, I'll do it.
Yes.
So the more I want to prove. So when I got cyberbullied and everything, I was depressed, of course, definitely. But I was like, how long do I want to live like this? And I was like, you don't like my body? Let me show my body more. And that's how I bloomed from the body positive movement.
Yeah.
So it helped me, and it also helped me with my eating disorder as well. And slowly, I'm developing on eating intuitively.
Intuitively.
Yeah.
Yes,
Intuitively.
rather than counting calories and what portion, whatever. Yeah, but yeah, go on.
That was beautiful because I just find it so interesting because do you think that in a way because we didn't really have access to information and education even in high school, they don't teach about nutrition? Isn't it crazy? And wouldn't you imagine that a comprehensive like structure on teaching young children about nutrition would really benefit like you growing up and like maybe kind of understanding how to, and like say about intuitive eating. 30 years old, I only know what intuitive eating is. I'm like, what the hell was that before?
Where has this been all my life?
Yeah, where has this been all my life?
And the thing is about intuitive eating, it's literally eat when you're hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so simple.
And
so
you don't see food as bad and good. You just see, okay, I want that chip, I'll get that chip, but in portion.
Yeah, it's like being mindful of, like you said, your choices, right? Essentially, and I feel like it's kind of crazy like that. When you think about it, like how can they not teach this to the young kids at school?
Exactly.
Right? And what a difference it would have made if I had this information, say, as I was like growing up, of course, from teenager, blossoming, right? Like, my hormones going crazy and like, me wanting to look good for boys for like a 12, 13-year-old, right? But imagine if at that time I actually have access to information like that, I wouldn't be feeling so much. And I so totally relate as well. Like in terms of, like I said, me looking back right now at my old photos, I never thought that I was a big child, right? But like it's like you say, but still you can never be good enough, right? Still people will comment on things like, oh, like your arms look kind of muscular. Because I've always been a little bit more muscular, I would say, because from dancing and being quite athletic in school.
Yeah, and different body types.
Oh, then your body of course be muscular.
But like they said it like it was a
Like it's
bad
a bad
thing.
thing. That's what I
it's
also
so not
read,
feminine, like.
But that's another part of the body positivity movement as
But
well. Is
muscular
that like
women.
muscular
Yeah.
women?
It's not.
Exactly.
Why is it that because your body looks strong,
Yeah.
it's something that they're saying is not good?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
extremely beautiful to have a strong body.
And it's also part of the fitness culture as well.
yeah.
Like they're always like, girls, you want weight loss? Let's do cardio.
Yes.
Let's tone up.
Let's tone up.
Exactly.
Which I'm like, tone? What does that even mean?
So for context, Yvonne is a fitness instructor.
So I've been teaching fitness, I think, full-time now, about 1.5 years. I currently teach at Aloha, beautiful community. Maybe you guys should come on my class sometime. Sorry, I'm like promoting.
We got a little plug.
But I love it, especially when, of course, in what I do, right, I see like, so my classes are often ladies that come for my classes, and I love it so much because I always just feel this sense of empowerment and like this sense of like, having different body types in my classes. Like I love that, like just I don't even know how to say sorry because I'm like feeling so much right now. I'm like losing my words for it. But basically that's why I try to be very mindful as a coach as well, especially in classes, to not use certain I would say quote unquote trigger words, right? And like certain I think one very common thing that sometimes you may hear in fitness classes are things like, oh, earn that dessert or earn it, kind of work for that food thing, right? And I still remember my coach, actually, TC, if you're watching this, I love you. Thank you so much. She was the one who actually told us to be mindful as coaches, especially in classes like this, because it's obviously a space where people come to work out, but it's a very vulnerable space as well, right?
Of course, people are like grunting.
And like I know, like everything is coming out. It ain't pretty, but like you know what I mean. But they're doing that obviously out of self-love and self-care, right? So being mindful of using motivation sentences like, make that workout worthwhile for your food after this, right? Or like relating everything back to like food.
Yeah.
Instead of being
And
like,
weight.
you're doing this for you're doing this to feel strong in your body, to know how able your body is, and being appreciative of this beautiful physical vessel.
Yeah.
Right?
Actually, thank you so much for that
Yeah.
because that's something that I didn't enjoy going to workout classes for quite a long time because it would always be, like, come on, don't be lazy, get up, do more, and it's like, I really enjoy now the classes that I go for where you know, at the end of every class, they say things like, this is between you and yourself.
Yeah.
What you can do today is what you can do today. Don't judge yourself based on this. And it's like, that makes a huge difference.
It really
It
does.
really does.
It really does.
Instead of feeling like beat down, exhausted at the end of a class, you feel empowered, you feel stronger about yourself. And it's not about the weight.
Yeah,
It's
not.
not
It's
about- it's
really,
not.
it's about, like, this one thing that I would like to say always is, you know, instead of focusing on losing, why don't you focus on gaining?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Then
what you
losing-
strength.
Yeah,
Yes.
gaining strength,
Muscle and-
confidence.
Yes.
Yes.
Love, I don't know,
Endorphins.
endorphins, whatever, gain, right? Rather
Yeah.
than lose this, lose that, and
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think what you said about the workout space being a vulnerable space is that sometimes when people are fatter or bigger, that they feel like they cannot enter that space because
Yep.
people will laugh at them, people
Yep.
will make fun of them, and there are people who do
Yes.
that.
there are,
Yeah.
oh,
And-
certainly,
and
yes.
that fear is completely justified. So to create a space where people can be vulnerable and can be honest, and because sometimes you go to a workout class and you get so emotional. You're like, wait, what's happening to me? I'm doing yoga right now. Why am I crying?
Yeah.
No, but I get it. It is very emotional.
Yeah.
It is, because this is something that we have dealt with since we were children.
Yeah.
You know, like we've gotten comments from people, you know, from the minute you're old enough to understand that people are commenting on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are basically internalizing all these things that they're saying. And so when you get to a point later on in your life where you're like, wow, I can actually unlearn all of this.
Yeah.
Like I can form a new
100%.
opinion about myself
Yeah.
Yeah.
for me, by me, with nobody else involved.
Yes.
It's so incredibly freeing.
Yeah.
So I get what you guys mean about being emotional when these, you know, when you're in these spaces,
Yeah.
because it's just like you're just sharing completely in that feeling with other people. It's pure
Yeah.
vulnerability.
Yeah.
And I think like vulnerability in a way is strength.
Oh,
Of course.
always
It's
strength.
always-
Showing
it's
up
always
for
the right
yourself,
choice.
right?
Like
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
then, I used to hate exercising because I couldn't see the results. So it's like people, I didn't know what's water weight, what that weights can change
Yeah.
every single day and all that.
Because they always relate, exercise to like all these things.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right?
yes, yeah.
Instead of being it something that you enjoy. And,
Yeah.
sorry.
Like I think, like I enjoyed doing it, but at the same time I couldn't see results, so I felt like kind of hopeless and all that. And I used to like work out like 5 times a week, and I used to go diets and all that. And then I stopped working out because I was like not empowered. I
The
was
body
just-
can't take it.
The body can't take
Yeah,
it. No
it's not-
doubt.
it's not
Teenage
sustainable.
It's not sustainable and everything.
Yeah.
And but then I started recently working out, and I see results that I'm gaining muscle and I'm being strong. That my back is getting better.
Posture, girl.
Yeah, my posture, my core, and my and I'm like, oh my god, this endurance, this like endorphins coming out of
Yeah.
me and all that, like it helps my depression as well.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really
Definitely.
helps my depression and
Yeah.
everything. It doesn't like make it go away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an end all be all
Yeah,
solution.
but it helped me manage my depression, even
Yeah.
especially in this
Yeah.
Panoramic.
Now I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out. Yeah.
Like you're actually excited.
Yes, I am.
Because
Yeah.
I think it becomes more of something you're doing for you
Yes,
rather than for
yeah.
other people.
Yeah,
You're not
rather
going
than-
to that class because you're going, I'm going to get skinny. I'm going to
Yeah,
show
I'm
them.
gonna change people's
you know?
opinions and or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah.
for you. It's purely for you.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
amazing.
I think it's always a very nice feeling that, like, even for me, I grew up from, I was 6 is when I started dancing. So 6 to 18, I danced like a crazy person. And when you dance, it's about your body. And I was lucky. I had a dance teacher who never judged us on our size and all that. But I was someone who turned 12 and got a curvier body. And I already knew I would never be a ballerina. I knew that wouldn't happen for me. I didn't have the body for it. And I would hate my body and had all this negative relationship with my body. I'd always call myself fat. I'm sure my mom and dad have seen me cry calling myself fat. Like, oh, this is why I didn't get to be in the front of the dance. Like, all of that. But then now, I'm 25 now. It's been 6 years? 6 years? Yeah. Wow, it's been a long time since I stopped. 7 years since I stopped dancing.
Right.
And even nowadays when I dance and I go for classes here and there, I look at my body and I don't hate it anymore. Even if now I don't feel like I'm the fittest I've ever been. I think maybe a year ago I might have been tighter, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. I don't hate it. And I think that's such a freeing feeling, and it's not easy to get there. I think everybody struggles to get to that point. But when you can look at your body and not be like, I hate you, I think that's a really nice feeling.
I think it's forgiving yourself for the things that you believed that other people said to you.
And knowing that that
Yeah.
was not your fault. at all.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
it always,
Yeah.
there is a certain element of like, you could avoid this, you know? Like, you could
Yeah.
not be like this. But what if I don't want to?
Yeah. I just remember looking at, like, sometimes when I look back at pictures of myself and I'm like, how I felt that I looked and how I actually looked
Yes.
looking at myself now, I'm like, oh man.
What a difference.
Yeah.
Two different things.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, I'm not big.
I'm not fat. I used to would use that word so meanly
Yeah.
to
Yes.
yourself. And I would never say that to someone else, ever.
And what would you say that to you then, right?
But yeah. So I always say, every time I tell my friends, talk to you like how I talk to you. Or talk to you like how your best friend would talk to you,
That
because
conversation
you need
with
to
yourself.
change that conversation. That's part of the body positivity movement.
Correct.
Sometimes, in order to have that conversation with ourselves, we might need to hear it from someone else
Yeah.
first.
Correct.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's like always catching and noticing your inner stories, like the stories that you're telling yourself. Because obviously
Yeah.
our mind is going on like 24/7, right?
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
and like having the awareness and the mindfulness to stop and knowing you have the choice to reverse
Yeah.
whatever that's going on inside.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
We have so much to say.
so like you don't even have to say that I love my body. You just have to stop hating it. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and that I think that also that I understand that a lot of people have difficulties on body positivity, like love yourself and all that. It's very difficult, especially you internalizing on hating yourself every single day. Just stop thinking about hating yourself.
Yeah.
Just stop saying to the mirror, I hate my body, I hate this, I hate that, I hate my hair, I hate whatever. Just stop thinking about it.
Yeah. Stop it and just say like, I'm okay.
I'm
with it.
okay.
You don't have to love. Sometimes sometimes
Ah,
love
you
can be
don't-
a
yeah.
very
Yeah.
intense thing. It's
Yeah.
like, oh my, I have to straight away love my body. But no, like you can just start by saying, you know what, I'm actually okay with where I am. Like I think acceptance
Yeah.
is ultimately so important when it comes to the body positivity
Yeah.
movement. Just accepting where you're at, how your body is looking like, and understanding that there are different seasons in life. That your body is not going to look a certain way forever.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, people get bigger and smaller. It happens. That's life.
happens.
That is just the
Natural
nature of
rhythm
life.
of life.
Yeah, and I think there's so much of our relationships with our body is defined by what we think other people will think of it. Like, what will this guy think of me when he sees my body? What is he gonna be like? Oh, why do you have a stretch marks? Why do you have fat? But like, I don't know if you guys watch Ep3, but there was a
Oh, I
moment when she looked. Her friend was like, "Oh, I've gained a lot of weight," and then she's like, "Look, actually, I'm not gonna eat this pizza." And she was like, "Look, have you ever been naked with a man and he told you to leave?" And she was like, "No." She's like, "Exactly, because he's won the lottery right there. So eat that damn pizza, girl."
They're still gonna bang. They're still gonna bang.
Still gonna happen, nonetheless.
But I think it's not because of men saying it to us. It's because of men's voices in the media.
Yeah.
In the
It's
media
always
saying,
there.
oh, stretch marks. Oh,
I don't think any of us likely have had an experience with a man that they actually said anything horrible like that.
No, I
very, very small percentage.
Yeah.
It's mostly from the media.
Yeah.
But it's also women in the media as
It's
well.
all, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, just recently, like, Khloe Kardashian posted a whole thing about like how she has body insecurities and how obviously being in the media has made her really insecure about her body and how she's always been called the fat sister and things like that. But a lot of people came back and were like, but your family is the one that directly contributes.
Double-edged
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
The
But it's
Kar-
like,
the Kardashian family has set the beauty standard.
exactly. And,
Definitely.
if like one of them can't live up to the standard that they themselves have set,
Then we
Then
can
you're like,
clearly
yeah.
see there's a problem.
They
right?
even outcast their own family. Like
Yeah.
exactly.
It's really unfortunate. And I think we've gone on for really long now, and I don't want to cut this conversation short. Maybe we can do a part 2, guys. Let us know if you want that. But any last words?
I've just been enjoying this.
yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this conversation.
And I feel like we've only scraped like the top.
yeah,
of it.
there's so much more to go. This is
There's-
only female body positivity
Yeah.
as well. We haven't even gotten
I'm
into the
so excited to have a future episode to talk to men, because this is not female body positivity is always associated with
Correct.
women, and there's so many aspects to it that do affect men.
Of course.
And like when it comes to their height, and when it comes to like gym bros, like isn't that disordered eating some of what they do?
A lot of men actually do have this.
Yeah.
Meal planner, then binge and cheat days on the weekends. What?
cheat days, exactly.
So we'll definitely get into that in the future, but I guess for me, a last word for myself is that, like, you know, I know it's not always easy to love ourselves and to think of our bodies as something beautiful or something to treat well and kindly when you have all these negative thoughts. But remember that, you know, in 5 or 10 years, you're going to look back on yourself and wish you were a bit kinder. So give yourself the kindness that you give everybody else. And you know you would never tell your best friend or even a stranger that they look ugly, they look fat, they look disgusting, this and that. So don't say that to yourself.
Definitely.
Amen.
Amen.
To that.
And mind your business or knowing what you're healthy or not.
Exactly.
Mind your business. Mind your business. You don't know them. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
This is the takeaway from this episode.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
Mind your business. And also one more thing I want to say, I think it's totally okay as well to ask for help sometimes.
Yes.
When you
Definitely.
don't know, and like finding that support system, whether be it in friends, in family, people that you know you can confide in and that will help support your journey or maybe your internal dialogue and things like that, right? I think it's so important because sometimes we want to just deal with it on our own, but not knowing that we can seek help and we
Always.
can always ask for support.
Yeah.
There's
Definitely.
internet. There's the community out there. Make
there's a
friends with
community.
them.
Yeah.
There's this table.
There's this.
There's this comment section, guys.
Yeah.
Only good discourse in the comment section, okay? All right.
Cut.
All right. So how do you guys think that the body positivity movement is going to grow in Malaysia? How do you think what's the progress you guys see?
Very slow.
Yeah.
Very, 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 very slow.
I think if it's going to take off at any point, it is going to have to involve like Muslimah. Like, you
That's
know,
true.
it can't.
I mean, that's the majority of the population.
That is the majority, and I feel like once it gets into that realm, it will kind of move forward, but it will only move forward in that way.
Yep. And I think that, like I said, like fat bodies are very new
Yeah.
in Asia and in Malaysia. And I think it's going to take a very long time for people to accept that fat bodies exist. People in different shapes and forms exist.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like all the ads that we see are all still like the
Yeah,
jamu,
Yeah.
the skinny teas and all that, the detox teas, the pills and all that.
Yeah.
And I think we can do what we can do, but it's all. But when it comes to progress, the people in power, the authorities have to do it, man. Like they have to. Like at least in America, there's FDA that's saying that you
Yeah.
can't sell detox teas. It's not whatever.
Yeah.
But in Malaysia, it's so loose that
Yeah.
everybody can sell anything and claim anything.
Yeah,
And I think that people in the authorities have to do that in order for the body positive movement to go further.
Yeah.
But in the media as well, I feel like
Social media is a very powerful tool also.
very, very powerful tool. And I think also brands.
Yeah.
Brands, please.
I know.
When we
your
say
image.
diversity, we
Yeah.
mean inclusivity. It
Yes.
doesn't mean a diverse
Yeah.
campaign and then the next campaign
It's the same thing
It's like
again.
it's a
Yeah.
novelty.
Consistency.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Consistency,
I
exactly.
mean, I think that a great example of that is how like Fenty versus Victoria's Secret. I personally
oh my
like.
goodness, yes.
What is Victoria's Secret?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
I only
think
know
it-
Stan and Fenty.
They don't exist
Yeah.
anymore. I swear, ever since Fenty came out, oh my god, the inclusivity.
It was beautiful, and the thing is, personally, maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I didn't really have a problem with what Victoria's Secret is. I get it, that's your brand. But the minute Fenty came about, is this brand that you guys have, which is fine. That's your brand, cool. You like the tall, skinny girls, that's fine. But the minute something came and was like, hey, I can see my body, I can see my friends' bodies, I can see all the bodies, and they were not just sexy, they were powerful.
Yeah, the power.
The power.
Yeah.
And I like how she always incorporates dance into it as well.
Yeah.
And showing not just an image, but the ability of the body.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
The
like it's showing
movement.
like this is the bodies. Let's see what the bodies can
Yeah.
do.
What the bodies can do.
and it just shows that when you're inclusive, when you promote power, inner power, people are gonna like it.
Yeah, I think it's the time where people just want to feel empowered.
Yeah.
People have been done living that fantasy, like Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
It's all about fantasy.
Fantasy.
It is
It's all about
fantasy.
angels looking pretty.
No, it's
looking pretty and
Yeah.
all that. But people found empowered when they see Savage Fenty because they see themselves.
Yes.
They see their
Exactly.
sisters, they see their brothers, they see their
Yeah.
friends and all that.
Yeah.
And I think that especially brands that as much as you want to sell fantasy and all that, but people, the money comes from Relatability, yes.
Relatability,
That's why
yes.
YouTubers like go crazy because a lot of them are relatable.
Are real people.
Yeah,
Exactly.
relatable. They talk about themselves. That's why they became rich so fast.
Yeah.
And people don't like wonder like how did they become rich because they're relatable.
And they talk about things that you face every single day. That are
Exactly.
others, you know, like you said, the whole fantasy idea, right?
Yeah, I think that even social media is plays a great role in all of this. That we see more bodies, we accept more bodies, and even brands. I can't think of the name of the lingerie brand, but it's a local brand that they featured a girl who was not a size too tall, perfect girl. She was a little bit more plus size and all that. And I was like, Malaysian company? Oh my god!
There are couples, Sicily,
Yeah.
and I work for
Yeah.
Sicily. Summer in Peaches.
Summer in Peach, that's the one. Yes.
Summer in Peach, sorry. Summer in Peach. Yeah, I modeled for them. My friend modeled for them and all that. Yeah.
And I remember when I saw that, I was like, wait, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But here, I think we are at the tipping point, and from this point forward, I hope to see the growth be,
Yeah.
you know, just.
I
Yeah,
must
because
say,
I think- sorry.
I have to just say, I really enjoy, like, seeing you in ads, and like when you pop up on my feed. I mean, like personally, I don't know you until today, but there's always this kind of feeling of like, I like her. Like,
Yeah, I think I can be friends with her.
yes, you know, but also like a kind of respect, you know, of
Yeah.
like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for like
Oh my god.
doing that, because you know if somebody, like no, because if it was me, I would be still like
Still shy.
and that's just where I'm at, and it's very like
And there's nothing wrong with that.
no, exactly,
Yeah.
but it's beautiful for me to see people who are there, because it's
'Cause
like
we want to get there.
we all want to get there at
Yeah.
some point, and so to see you doing that unapologetically and being so beautiful at the same time is honestly.
Oh, that was like so speechless right now.
I'm sorry. I'll tone it down a little bit now.
She's looking so nice.
Let me take it back.
But it's like emotional again, you know,
Yeah,
that feeling
sure,
of
for
like
sure. I know
it's
what you
just
mean.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
do it because I want people to feel that. I want
Yeah.
people to be like, hey, I want to be her one day. And I want you to.
Yeah.
And I want you to live unapologetically. Yeah, sorry, I have things for. But yeah, I want you to live like you're not sorry for it.
And
Yeah.
knowing that no matter what size you're at,
Yeah.
you can do anything that you
yes.
put your heart and
Exactly.
mind
But
to.
representation brings us like so many steps closer than if it
Yes.
wasn't there.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
100%.
All right, let's wrap this up. We just barely scraped the surface. We will do a part 2, no doubt, because
No doubt.
there is so much more to
Good.
say and so much more to dive deep
Yeah.
into and unpack. But what are your last words? Sunny, you want to go first? Any last words?
I would say that I'd say body positivity, honestly, it's a huge topic. There is so much to be said, and like you said, we barely scratched the surface. But I'd say like my biggest takeaway from this is that it's extremely personal. It is between you, yourself, and nobody else. And regardless of whether you're sharing all that on social media, it's still very personal. And I think the biggest lesson that people should learn is to. Elisa, you want to say it?
To love yourself.
Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Exactly. Mind your business.
Mind your business.
Exactly.
Like like the fake concerns, the health concerns, and all that. That's my last message. Like you don't know what's their experience. You don't know what's their life. You don't know what's their struggle. So the best, easiest way, the free way, mind your business. And also like the body positive journey is not linear. There are some days that you don't like your body, and it's fine. It's okay. But you have to remind yourself that, hey, I am better than this. I will buck up, and I am more than my body.
Yeah.
much more.
We're more than our bodies, and it's fine that you don't like your bodies today, but just stop hating it.
Yeah.
Just stop hating it. Your body is there for you to walk, for you to run, for you to
Lift weight.
Your body gives the greatest hugs.
Yep.
We love hugs.
Your body can give you more if you allow it.
Yeah.
Allowing it. And yeah, I think for me, I would say the biggest takeaway is don't be afraid to ask for help. Like finding support system. I mean, these ladies, like even this conversation, you could do this with your girlfriends as well. And understanding and seeing different perspective and knowing that you're not in this journey alone, I think is a very empowering thing.
Definitely.
And knowing that like I say, just don't be afraid to ask for help and to expose yourself. And vulnerability is strength. Vulnerability is strength.
Yes.
So allow yourself to ask for help. Allow yourself to seek community that will support you in your journey. And
Yeah, I agree. I believe vulnerability is always the right choice, and be kinder to yourself, honestly. Just try not to be so mean. Try to talk to yourself like you're your best friend. And just remember that sometimes when you look at yourself from 5 years ago, remember that sometimes when I see myself at 15, 16, 17, I'm like, she's a baby. And in 10 years, you're going to look at this age self and be like, she's a baby. Why was I so mean to her? And just be kinder to yourself, and remember that, your body is beautiful. It is. You don't want to say it, I'm going to say it. Your body is so beautiful. So thank you guys so much, all of you girls, for being here. Thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Please like, share, comment, follow, all the good things, and good discourse in the comments, okay? No hate. And until next time, we'll see you guys soon. Oh, I gotta say my line. Stay safe and stay woke, guys. Bye!